In today's video, we're going to be covering the very popular game Ark Nova, and we're going to be taking a look at playing on a very specific map, and that is Silver Lake. So we're going to take a look today at how you want to strategize when you're playing on that map in particular. We're going to take a deep dive looking at the map's special abilities, key sponsor cards, the map bonus tile, how you can use that to your advantage, animal cards, end game bonuses, conservation points, and we're really going to take a deep dive so you understand all the ins and outs of how you can succeed when playing on map number 3, which is Silver Lake. So strap in, bring your bathing suits, and let's head to the lake. Alright, so the first thing that we always want to look at when evaluating a map is what is your special ability for that map. So in the case of Silver Lake, we don't really have a special ability, but we more have what they call profitable areas around the lake. So you can see that we have a total of 11 $2 bonuses right around the lake here on the left side of the map. So that's going to have a few interesting things to play out as we go over the strategy related to this map. But while it seems like, you know, it's not as cool as some of the other abilities, it's not flashy, it's still very, very powerful, because one of the things that's really hard in this game is having a lot of money early on, and just being able to get money as you're building is a really powerful effect, and that's what makes this one of the stronger maps. So now that we've looked at the special ability, which is really just the placement bonuses on this map, we're going to look at some of the other placement bonuses that are available to us as well, and then start to brainstorm on where we might want to start on the map. So one of the interesting things about this map, in addition to all of the money that's available, is there's 2 locations where you can get 1 reputation. So a majority of the maps only have 1 area where you can get a reputation bump, but this one has 2. So what that can do is that can really help to get access to the card flip that is on the 5 reputation spot a little easier. So since we start at 1 reputation, if we take both of our coverage bonuses here and then we get the university, we could potentially flip an action card very early by getting those 2 reputations, so that's something to keep in mind. Additionally, most of the other coverage bonuses are pretty standard. 2 X's over here, which the way it pans out, and we'll go over that in a second, but I tend to cover these X's later in the game and not early on. And then we have 2 card draws and a clever opportunity up here. And then also in the top right corner there is a play sponsors for money opportunity, which is, you know, always good later in the game. You don't have to take an action, and this map we will tend to have a lot of money at the start, so hopefully we can use that to build up our income and then have money so that we can play something in the later game. So now that we've looked at all the map placement bonuses, where do we typically want to start on this map? Well, it often depends on what my starting hand is and, you know, generally what I'm trying to do with my first few turns. But oftentimes I will start somewhere in this bottom left side of the map so that I'm getting some number of the money coverages as I place my first couple build actions. So if you have a small animal and the reputation is important to you, you can start over here, build the 2 enclosure, covering up the 1 reputation and the money, and then you can go from there and you can build out in any different size enclosures from there. Now if we have a animal that requires rock, I'll typically start somewhere down in the bottom over here so that I can get access to the rock spaces, but then I'm still nearby all of my money, so then on subsequent builds I can build stuff that's closer to the lake here. Now depending on if there's a valuable card that you might want to get that's in the first position, or if you are really desperate to get a card off the top, you can build pretty much any size enclosure here and start here to get the card cover at the beginning. So I typically start on the left side or down here in the bottom. I would say the bottom if you need rock. The left side if you have a small animal and you're trying to get this reputation. Sometimes I'll actually just, if money's more important, I can start here, and that gets me the most money back. Alternatively, you know, if I need a larger enclosure, I could start here. That gets me pretty well equipped to get both of these reputation pretty early on. We can do the same with 5 enclosures here. You know, if we need rock, we can go here. If we need to draw a card, we can do it something like this. So there's a lot of options that we have here, but I generally start down in that left corner. Now, a couple reasons you might not want to do that. So one alternative is you can do pretty similar things by starting up here in the middle of the map. You still have access to the rock, you're getting money, and you can work your way towards the money. If the reputation over here is not as important to you, then that's a fine starting location. You can get quicker access to this clever ability, and maybe you want to work your way over to playing an early sponsor using money. But I would say that that's a low percentage of the time that I start there, because you really want to get as much of this money early as possible. So that is an option. Now, I would say even less likely is almost 0% of games I would ever start over in this area over here. The X is not super valuable early in the game. It gets more powerful later in the game. And I think you're just killing yourself by not being over by the money, because that's really the power of the map, is getting the money early on. So those are pretty much all the options here. There have been games where I've started here and I've gotten the early opportunity to play cable car. So if you were able to put this here and then spend the $6 to play cable car, you can work your way across the map playing your sponsor like that, and then you're still nearby the money, so you've managed to bridge across the map and you got an early sponsor play, got some early points, set yourself up for an engine that way. So that's, I think, the only time I've ever built over on this side of the map and started with that sponsor thing, but it still puts you a little tight on cash, so I'd probably still advocate for starting on the other side of the map, and then maybe just Xing a card out to get the cable car played. So those are a few things to think about. In general, just remember you probably want to start somewhere near the money, because that's the most exciting thing about this map. So now that we've looked at the actual placement bonuses and our quote-unquote special ability for the map, now we're going to look at the actual most exciting thing about this map, which is the conservation project bonus. So remember, all the maps have the same 3 on the top and the same 3 on the bottom. Those are always an option, and then this middle option is what changes from map to map. So on Silver Lake, the bonus that we get on our map is a determination. So that means that when we complete a conservation project and take this off, we claim that conservation project, and then we get to immediately take another turn. So the reason that this ability is so powerful is that it allows you to most typically go for a conservation project at the end of the game, have that trigger the end of the game, and then immediately play some animals that are worth points, or potentially even fund another conservation project immediately following. So I would say that most of the advanced players are going to lend themselves towards saving that for their last conservation project, and using that for a big amount of points at the end of the game. However, if it's going to get you a tempo play in the mid game, maybe it's worth it to play a couple of animals before a break, or use it to play, do something and affect the break timing, or get yourself ahead in some other way. It might be worth playing in the middle of the game, but primarily it's used for a big powerful boost at the end of the game. So that is really what sets this map apart, and it makes it one of the most powerful maps in the game, is having the ability to take an extra turn after getting a conservation project, which towards the end of the game is what you want to be doing with your actions anyways. Okay, and then not quite as important, but we always like to look at where our bonus points are on the map. So on this map, Partner Zoo gets you 1 conservation point, Universities gets you 2 conservation points, and there's none for your 3rd worker here. So with a setup like this, I typically tend to lean towards not upgrading the association action, because I can still get my big bonus, which is 2 conservation points from the university slot, without needing to upgrade the association action, so I tend to lean towards upgrading sponsors over association, and that's kind of what this 2-in-1 here tells me, because you don't need to get your last worker, and you don't need to even necessarily get above 2 partner zoos to get the big bonus, which is 2 points. Now we're going to talk about some of the sponsor cards, animal cards, and conservation project cards that you might want to look out for on this map, and how those things can be synergistic with your map's abilities, and how you can really use those to advantage to get ahead when you're playing on Silver Lake. So the first one that we want to showcase is the Archaeologist. So the Archaeologist lets you get additional placement bonuses when you cover a border space in your zoo. So if we look at our map here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bonuses that are on the exterior of the map. So we could potentially get 7 triggers off of the Archaeologist. And on top of that, what I've liked to do in the past is we can immediately get a big boost of reputation here. So if we have Archaeologist, and let's say we start the game by, playing, taking a university, and then that gives us our 1 science symbol. Then we use one of our subsequent actions to play our Archaeologist. So now, as soon as I cover here, I can build any old enclosure. That gets me 1 reputation. I can use the Archaeologist to get another reputation. And then, as I build more enclosures and I work myself out, I can say, okay, here, now I'm going to get 2 more money, 4 money, and then I can use that to get more reputation. And I could potentially get to the 8 reputation spot where I get the extra worker tile. So I've done that strategy where you rush to get an extra worker tile. But there's a lot of options here, because if you start on this side of the map, even if you're not going to rush reputation, here I get 2 Archaeologist bonuses, which means I could get X tokens if I need X tokens. I could draw a key card from the display. I could even use it to play more sponsors with money, because I will be flush with money when I'm playing this map here. So Archaeologist on Silver Lake is absolutely insane. So much so that the World Series of Board Games said no Archaeologist when you're playing on Silver Lake or one of the 2 starting maps. It's just too powerful. Now, the next card we want to look at is going to be actually 2 cards that I'm going to highlight sort of in tandem here. So the first and second card that I want to look at is Aquarium and Hydrologist here. So the reason that both of these cards are being highlighted is because this map, like I said, all of our bonuses are around the lake, which means that everything valuable that we want to be doing, all of the things that are special to us on our map, are around water. And so Hydrologist is going to give us extra money for each time that we cover a space next to water. Well, now first of all, we're going to get that early on. We're going to be covering a lot of water. So now, how many does that mean? It's, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So Hydrologist has the potential to get you $22 throughout the course of the game. And then it's ultimately not too hard to get the 1 conservation point at the end of the game. Now, beware, warning, there's been several times when I forgot about this little guy over here. So keep in mind, if you're playing Hydrologist, this guy's sneaky, and you might forget to cover him. So don't do what I've done and lose the game by 2 because you forgot to connect that water. It's not a good time. Now the second one is the Aquarium. So let me fish in here for the Aquarium. Fish for the Aquarium. Okay, so the reason I like the Aquarium, one is it's, like I said, there's 21 spots that can connect to water, so it's going to be really easy to play animals that require water. So Aquarium is just a natural fit, but it also fits beautifully around your lake. So, you know, there's a lot of options here. I could go there, boom. Not only do I get the benefit of playing Aquarium, but I also get a bunch of money. So you could use Aquarium to also get money. There's just a lot of options. You could play it like this. You could go around here and, you know, tuck in and go get that water that I was talking about, that pesky water. There's almost infinite places on this map where you can play the Aquarium and be happy with it. You could wrap it around here. That's actually not true. That's a lie. But you could go over here. A lot of options for aquarium, and I think it's a really powerful card. Okay, so sort of a corollary to those two, water playground. I mean, I generally like water playground in general, but playing water playground early on, you know, let's say I go here, and you know, I start there, and then I want to try to get over to that other reputation. Water playground is a way that I can sort of bridge the gap, and I can get myself closer to covering more bonuses. So that's another good example. I don't have the actual token, but here we go. You know, if that was your water playground, get some money there. It's a pretty good starting sponsor card as well. Okay, and the last card for the sponsors portion that I want to highlight is the free range New World Monkeys. So the reason I want to highlight this card when we're talking about Silver Lake is if you've ever watched any of the strategy videos that talk about sponsor rankings, most people are going to put free range monkeys near the bottom of the list. The reason for that is you're getting points for being next to placement bonuses. But the problem is, to get those points, you have to not claim the placement bonuses, which ultimately you want to be getting your placement bonuses. Now, on Silver Lake, we have the most placement bonuses of anyone. There's a bunch of Silver Lake bonuses around the lake. So there's 11 bonuses there around the lake. So think about this. In free range from New World Monkeys, if you were to go start your game here, and then build like this. Now, it's not the most efficient there, and you haven't gotten any money, right? But I could get this card to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 appeal very early on in the game, right? I've only had to take 3 build actions, and then I could slap this down for 8 appeal, right? I mean, theoretically, I could get it up to 10. You know, there's a very, very high ceiling for a card that's typically not that good. There's a way on this map to make it a lot better than average. So that's a card to look out for on this map. And there's also potential that you could even get the bonus at the end of the game if you leave isolated placement bonuses. Because I've finished plenty of games where I didn't get these 2 X's down in the corner. So if you just neglect that corner altogether, you could even get the 1 point at the end of the game after scoring the 5, 6, 9 points early on in the game. So it's an underrated card because it's really powerful on this map, but it's typically not the best card that you want to be playing. Alright, so now that we've looked at the sponsor cards, I want to highlight a couple of animals that stand out to me on this map. So the first one that I want to highlight is a bird, and that is the Australian Pelican. So one of the things about this Pelican is it's a pretty fairly costed card. It only costs $13 for a size 4 enclosure, and it gives you 5 points, but it lets you immediately take the build action. Now, it's not the best card in the deck, but one of the things is we've already considered that we want to be building around the water. So playing something early like this, right, we play that, we get some money back from our initial build action, and then we can play this bird early on. And by doing that, we get to immediately build some more, which we can then cover up more of our bonuses. So since we're getting bonuses from our building early on, and we're probably already going to want to be next to water, playing this Pelican early on, I've found success doing that. Even though it's not the best card in the world, its value goes up a lot when playing on this map. It's also a good candidate for an early Australia or bird release program. So something cool to think about. I've had a lot of success playing this card on this map. Now, the other animals that we want to look at is going to be the eagles. So the golden eagle and the bald eagle, both of them have the determination action. Now, obviously determination is a very powerful effect. However, when you're able to play eagles, put it in an enclosure, then use the extra action from the golden eagle to get a conservation project. Then take this guy off, get another determination action, so you get to play and do another action altogether, you could potentially get effectively 3 turns. And this is oftentimes what players will do at the end of the game, is chain the determination action from the eagles, put it with their board, and then, you know, I've seen people score 40, 50, 60 points in one turn at the end of the game. So you want to keep in mind that if you have the chance to snap or pick up an eagle, you want to do that at some point in this game, and then you want to try to have that explosive finish, because not only will it help your chances of winning, but it'll feel very, very cool. And, you know, we all know that doing cool stuff in games is a lot more important than winning. So that is a very important consideration there. All right, and now lastly, we're going to take a look at the conservation projects. So this map is just really good at getting the ball rolling early with money, and I wouldn't say there's any real conservation projects that are, you know, a lot better than others when it comes to the base conservation projects. However, I think that Aquatic is one to look out for. So because you're going to have a lot of spots around water, getting water icons is going to be a lot easier than it typically is. So keeping Aquatic in your opening hand or snapping Aquatic at some point during the game, it's going to be decently easy to get up to 4 water icons if you can find the right cards. And 2 is almost, you know, a joke to get. So I think Aquatic is definitely one you want to look out for on this map. So at the same time as Aquatic, the conservation project being good, I also think that the Aquatic Park bonus card is another good end game bonus card that you might want to consider keeping when, you know, in your opening hand. Now, one thing to talk about other than Aquatic, which is I think above average on this map, I typically think that its counterpart, the climbing park, is going to be very challenging. I find it, you know, very difficult to get rock on this map, since you're going to want to start on the water away from the rock. So that's something to think about when you're playing for end game bonuses. So there you have it. That's everything you need to know to win the next time you're playing Ark Nova using map number 3 Silver Lake. So hopefully you didn't get a sunburn as we were laying there by the lake, but let's go over some of the key things that we learned while we were talking about that map. First of all, cover those money bonuses early on. Get that money early so that you can build up an economy and win the game. Save your conservation map bonus, the determination action, for the end to try to set up an explosive end game. That's going to get you the furthest ahead when using this map. Sponsor cards, we talked about specific sponsors that are have water icons and want to play animals that are next to the water. So that's what we talked about in that regard. So thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, this is the MeepleMaven signing off. As always, if you're liking the content, please subscribe, hit that thumbs up button. If you have something to say, go ahead and chime in the comments. We'll get back to you. We can talk strategy there. And look forward to some live streams coming up in the next few weeks.